This book is sure to warm even the chilliest heart this fall. Hey there, book lovers. I'm here with my review of A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandanna for you. This is the latest release by the author of The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and you can catch my review of that book here in case you missed it. I read the physical copy of this book from my local library, but it's available in whichever format you prefer. This is a cozy fantasy romance that was released in July 2025. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping is about Sarah Swan, a witch who was once on track to be one of the most powerful witches in all of Britain. But at the age of 15, she befriends a talking fox with questionable morals and motives. The fox, a witch named Clemmy, whose attempt to curse someone backfired on her, teaches Sarah how to use a forbidden resurrection spell to bring back her great aunt Jasmine when she dies suddenly. The spell takes most of Sarah's magic and costs her her place in the British Guild of Witches once they learn what she's done. Sarah spends the next 15 years begrudgingly helping her aunt run an enchanted inn, taking care of her young cousin Theo, dealing with their guests' quirky shenanigans, and trying to keep Clemmy in check. All the while, she quietly longs for the future that she lost until one day she comes across a spell that just might be what she's been looking for to restore her magic. And when Luke Larson, a magical historian for the Guild, finds his way to the inn, Sarah begins to think that the future she used to dream about might actually be within her reach once more. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping is a beautiful story that focuses on found family, identity, diversity, and acceptance. Sarah, who lives with her great aunt because her parents are more interested in going on adventures than they are in being parents, cast a spell when she was young that enchanted the inn so that anyone who was in need of a place to stay would be able to find it. But those who had bad intentions or were otherwise not welcome weren't able to locate it. It's one of the few spells she's able to maintain after she loses most of her magic. The result of that spell is that the inn's inhabitants are a bit of a ragtag group of eccentric characters, but it's clear that they all consider themselves to be a family of sorts, even though only Sarah, Theo, and Jasmine are related by blood. Sarah also spends the majority of the book coming to terms with who she is without her magic. She's told repeatedly by Jasmine and others who love her that she is enough as she is, with or without her magic, but this book is clearly Sarah's journey to accepting that truth for and about herself, and it's a beautiful and touching one to share as the reader. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping also tackles the theme of diversity as well as the importance of acceptance. There is quite a lot of diverse representation among the characters in this book, from sexual orientation, disability/slash mental health issues, to simply having different likes or dislikes from what society would consider normal. This book does an excellent job of making it clear that being accepting and inclusive really isn't as difficult as the world likes to make it out to be. The author has such a talent for trying to gently teach a lesson that many people could still learn from today. The characters in this book were so much fun and really made the story much more enjoyable for me. They were funny, loyal, and heartwarming additions to an already sweet, cozy fantasy read. I loved how each of the inn's inhabitants, and even the inn itself, played a role in Sarah's overall journey of finding and accepting herself as she truly is, but they also had their own realizations that they eventually came to terms with as well, just from the time they spent at the inn with Sarah and her family. Each character either finds something they were missing during their stay, or they learn something about themselves that helps them overcome some problem in their life. That sort of representation really makes you wonder what magic truly is while you're reading this book in the best possible ways. The characters and what they go through and learn by the end of the book really drive home the point that magic is more than just ingredients and spells, and that maybe it might even be a bit more fact than fiction when you think about it in that way. This is the second book I've read by this author, and I absolutely adore her writing. She has such a knack for taking difficult subjects and approaching them in such a gentle, unoffensive way that I really admire, especially in today's world where it feels like everything is almost intentionally loud and abrasive at times. I especially enjoyed the way she managed to turn the Enchanted Inn in this book into a character all on its own. That was a pretty impressive element to add that definitely didn't go unnoticed as I was reading the book. It very much felt like the actions of the inn as a character itself were driving the plot at times, which is something I don't think I've experienced before. It was such a unique way to paint a picture for the reader and move the story along, and just another example of the author's amazing writing talent for me. I really, really loved this book. I feel like the author did it again for me in that this was so much more than just a cozy fantasy read, though I was more prepared for that this time around having read her previous book. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping had so many moments in it for me that were touching and meaningful that it's a little hard to keep track of them. The amount of growth that Sarah goes through from the beginning of the book to the end is amazing, but I think Luke's growth spoke to me the most while I was reading. He starts off cold and detached because that's how he's learned to be around people while trying to take care of his autistic sister, Posy. He spent his life trying not to take up too much space, trying to get ahead of what he calls outstaying his welcome with people who either can't or won't understand that Posy is different. It was really heartwarming to watch him eventually come to the understanding that he doesn't have to do that anymore because he's finally found somewhere that Posy is accepted for who she is and is safe to be that person. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping is a very uplifting book where the struggles that the characters go through are not only well represented and real, but also relatable and presented in such a way that it gives the reader hope that they too can overcome whatever they may be struggling with. Fans of cozy fantasy books will definitely enjoy this book. If you read The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandanna, The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, or The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst in particular, then you'll find some of the same themes addressed in those books present in this one. I've read all of those and found them to be quite similar to this one as I was reading. But again, even if you haven't read those and you're just a fan of the cozy fantasy genre in general, then A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping is still worth checking out. Overall, I would give this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I really didn't want to put it down and loved that there was so much more depth to it than just being a cozy fantasy novel without being really heavy to read. The author tackled some pretty serious topics in a lighthearted way that made the book much more enjoyable to read. If you're looking for something light and funny but with a little more substance to it this fall, then I definitely suggest picking this book up. What do you guys think? Is this a book you'd consider reading? Let me know if it is or if you've already read it and what you thought in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content and to find out what's next. See you next time and happy reading!